had some challenges with in the previous project was how you, when you talked about like the sizes and how you were going in and changing the sizes on the little box on the bottom, and then also the other box, how it pops up, and then you can kind of change the sizes and the pixels. So I did follow that, but that concept is still a little tricky because
I get it.
yeah,
It's something that if you're not used to working with digital images, it's like a dimension that you've never heard of. It's like if someone was like, okay, guess what? Instead of working in inches and feet, you're going to now work in meters and centimeters. You'd be like, what? So it's a similar thing with pixels. You just kind of have to get used to it.
Okay.
But I'm happy to walk through it real quickly if you'd like me to.
Yes.
Okay. So let me share my desktop again so you can just see everything.
Okay. And I'm only asking because I know for the assignment coming up, we need to do, and I just want to make sure that I have as much understanding as I can, so when I start working, I can.
I get it. So, okay, so here's this image that I just downloaded, the dog drinking water one, right? So let's just go ahead and open it in Photoshop. And now the first part is this little box here at the bottom, right? This is where it's going to just tell me what size it is. I can't actually change anything in this box.
Okay.
This box is just telling me about the image. It's like an info box.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the document dimensions. It's 72 pixels per inch, but the size is actually pretty large, 3000 by like 3400 pixels.
Okay.
So if I'm going to really try to understand what the heck does that mean, 3400 pixels, the easiest way I do this is I go up to image up here and I say image size. And then in this box, it's going to let me choose inches or pixels. So here, if it's on pixels, you'll see that it relates to what this says, right?
Okay.
But if I don't understand that, I'm going to say, okay, well, let's just do inches because I understand. I can visualize inches. All right, so I changed it to inches. So now it's saying, oh, it's 42 inches by 48 inches. That's huge, right? But it's only 72 pixels per inch. So the pixels per inch is resolution, which means how fuzzy or blurry the image is going to look when it's done, when your entire collage is done. Okay. So resolution varies depending on your end result. And your end result means what are you going to do with your file that you're making, with your Photoshop file? Are you going to print it with like a printer and use it as like a flyer or a poster? Or are you just going to make a little small graphic that you're going to email to people or put on the web? Okay. So you have online and you have print resolution. Those are the two main differences. Online being anything you email, anything you just use on the computer. Okay. So anything online, 72 pixels per inch, PPI, pixels per inch, is good. So if I was only going to use this for web, then this is probably pretty good, and I can just change the size to be a more manageable size, right? But if I want to print this, which for project 2 you do, you actually want to change your pixels per inch. So to change your resolution, the first thing you have to do is you have to unclick this box where it says resample. Okay. And I'll explain why. Do you see this little link right here? This link is only connected to width and height. That means if I change the width, the height is also going to change because it's going to keep the proportion of the image. It's not going to distort it.
Got it.
But that's not going to do anything to the resolution. Well, that's not good because if I just change the resolution right now without having it linked to the size, then all I'm doing is adding like extra pixels that don't mean anything. So it's just adding fuzz. It's just going to make it soft and blurry instead of jagged and blurry.
Got it.
Not like a really crisp image without any blurriness, then I don't want to add meaningless pixels. I want to basically shrink the overall size, which allows me to increase the pixels overall. So to uncheck this box, now you can see all three of them are connected. Okay. So now if I change the resolution, let's change it to 200. You can see it brought the size of the image way down. Now instead of 40 inches, it's about 15 inches. Okay, so that's much more manageable, and now I have a high resolution image.
Got it.
Now, if for some reason I I'm just going to say cancel, and I'm going to open another image just so we have a sample. So this is like a flyer, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do image size here, inches. This is like 11 by 11. So if I want to change this to 200, now it's only 5 by 5 inches. If that's all I wanted, that's great. But if I wanted to print this on like a regular piece of paper, that's too small. Right? So then what would happen is, let's say I wanted this to be like 11 inches. That's only 98 pixels per inch. That's way too low. So that all that tells me is that this is not a good image to use, because I can't logically increase the pixels per inch and maintain a good image size.
So that's what, when you say to make sure that it's a good image, and
yes,
that's what you mean by that.
That's what I'm talking about. You have to start at the very beginning and check, okay, at the size I want to print it, am I going to be able to maintain that high resolution, that high PPI number?
Okay. Now that makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
So for the collage, for the new assignment that we're doing, all the images are supposed to be at 300 resolution?
I would say between 200 and 300 is a good goal.
Okay.
And it depends on your size. If you're planning on using this, let's say I want this dog to just be this little tiny image in the corner, then I can go smaller with it, like with the inches size. But if I want this dog to be like, let's say it's not a dog, let's say it's like a sunset picture. Let's say I want that to be the background for my whole collage, then it needs to be pretty big. It needs to be able to be 200 pixels per inch minimum at that full document size of 8.5 by 11.
Okay. And you know that it's not able to do that when you change the resolution and it doesn't adjust.
When you're changing the resolution, as long as you have this box unchecked, and you can tell because all three of these need to be linked, right? Then when you change your resolution, you see what you get. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is plenty big to be a background image. That means it's probably good, right? But if I did that here, image size, uncheck, and I change this to 200, I'm like, nope, that's good for a small image, but not for a whole background.
Got it. Okay. It just clicked. Okay.
Yay!